GM confirmed that the Seahawks are shopping Richard Sherman. Should they trade him?
Whew. Can I give you two answers? Not because of performance, because this is the most consistent cornerback in the business. I mean, best, most athletic, we can argue that a bunch of different ways. We talk about consistency, showing up every Sunday with his head screwed on straight, ready to ball. This is your man, period, the end. You can't argue that on tape. But this is where maybe the luck and the good fortune of Schneider and Carroll kind of comes home to roost, because, listen, you get Bam Bam Chancellor late round. You get Richard late round. But then Earl was your first rounder. You got Michael Bennett. All these guys have now been paid. So you got to start looking forward. You always want to be ahead of the curve instead of behind the curve, because if you're behind the curve, that hurts the franchise. So maybe, listen, maybe you can afford Richard this year and maybe one more year. But what's the trickle-down domino effect? So, listen, if there's a trade partner outside of the NFC where you're not bettering an opponent that you've got to face to get to the Super Bowl, I say maybe it's that time. Nobody knows the books like Pete and Schneider, but you got a lot of high-priced guys on that defensive roster, much less your quarterback and some of the offensive guys too. So this is where the so-called Patriot way, always staying ahead of the curve. You got to do what's best for the team in the long haul, maybe not be so short-sighted. So I hate to say it, 25 belongs there in front of the 12s, but maybe what's best for the team is to ship him to the AFC somewhere.
I can't even believe that we're having this conversation. Why is that? Because there's 32 flavors in the NFL and 32 islands and corners in the NFL, and most of all these corners have green lights. That means that the receivers just keep going. Every now and then, you see a stop sign on the corner is what Richard Sherman brings to the table. He is a constant stop sign. I know you talked about Cam Chancellor, you talked about Earl Thomas in the secondary, but guess who's the guy that never misses a game? Richard Sherman.
That's a valid point.
That's who that guy is. He's the guy's consistent. He's the guy's going to be there. Now, you've had a revolving door on the other corner, and you're going to mess with this corner? Have you lost your mind? Not only is he great on the field, he's great off the field. He's a constant professional and intelligent, smart, active in the community. Have you lost your mind? In a day and an age where we can't even find a halfway decent corner, if Atlanta would have had Richard Sherman in the Super Bowl, they would have won the darn Super Bowl. I rest my case.
Not with that lack of pass rush. Are you kidding me? Richard would have been made average in that defense because they couldn't rush the passer either. So, listen, I tend to agree with you. I'm biased
Richard
towards
Sherman
25.
is not an average corner.
He's not average, but you put him with the wrong defense, any corner outside of prime time can be made average.
Well, you put a pass rusher with the wrong team, too, and nobody can cover back there. What is he going to do? He's going to shut it down on you, too. So let's say it either way. Richard Sherman is a man amongst boys, and I love him, Heath. Can you keep pose this question? I can't believe I even asked you that question.